Hey guys, no vlog this week, but I thought I'd just jump on front of the camera and maybe just talk about things so we can all just sort of move on and everyone can sort of move light and free and we can just go on with our lives and do things that we want to do and just sort of talk about this next little chapter. So I don't regret making that content over last week. I think it was me in my purest form, the most vulnerable form that you guys have probably seen me in. Even my dad rang me, he goes, fuck, I haven't seen you cry probably since you're like a kid. So whenever my dad's ringing me with stuff like that, it's kind of like you can see the effect that it had. And I think it's important for us, if we're happy to share all the upsides and the B-rolls when everything's going great and we're selling out on clothes, I think it's important to share that downside as well. I think it's important to show vulnerability, and it's okay to be like a grown man and things not okay in life and also in business. So I don't regret that content, but it was also part of the healing process too. Now, probably the long tail of it is like people trying to like pick sides or people hating me or people trying to hate on Scope. I don't want it to be like that. Like one thing about Scope is you should never question his character. He's a fucking really great guy. I've known him since I was 15, 16. He's never done wrong by me, honestly. And even this decision now, even though I was hurt at the time, I was upset, I was frustrated. It wasn't a decision out there to hurt me. It was just a decision that he could better his life and his family's life. And there's two types of guys you shouldn't get in the way of: a guy who's trying to look after his family and a guy with a vision and a dream. Because if someone tries to get in the way of me and my dreams, I'll just see you later. And Scope's never been that guy. And I just don't want him to get bagged for making a decision that was there to protect his family. And in all honesty, like I know those boys hit me on the same day and I didn't expect it. I sit here a week and a half later, it's probably the lightest I've ever felt. And I think when I think about YKTR, we used to have this, our core motto was inspire change through clothing. I used to just be this light, free entrepreneur that used to travel around, make podcasts. Used to go like fly New York and LA and Seoul and get all this inspiration through clothes, come back, bundle up these collections. And they kind of used to sell out. And this was like 2 years ago. I think we kind of lost our way a little bit. And that was the core essence of a brand and how we got people into the brand and fall in love with it. And I know a lot of things have happened since then, good, bad, ugly, everything else in between. But I really felt like we lost that core essence of it. So, I actually thank Scope I just want to thank Scope for doing it that way, because I sit here now and I'm excited for change. I'm excited for future. I'm excited where I can come in and just kind of focus on YKTR, the clothing side, the content, and a few other things that I'm really passionate about. And yeah, and I'm excited for him as well. So I don't want it to be like, oh, he left YKTR, so I'm not going to watch his content anymore. If you love the Scope, don't judge him on the decision he made to protect his family, to look after his family, just because I was in my feels and I was getting petty about it. Just judge him for the content creator, Skippy Scope, the most lovable guy in the world that's doing things, trying to look after his family. And if he starts a podcast, go support it. Honestly, he's a good guy. And saying that, like, I've still got pettiness, a little bit of pettiness within me. I think vulnerability is a strength, but I think forgiveness is the ultimate strength. And the turning point for me was I went to one of my mentors I always talk to, still a little bit petty, fucking floating about, sit down in my seat like this, like, fuck. And he goes, fucking sit down. And he goes, this is the path you chose. You want to be in business with your friends, these are the consequences for it. And he told me a story. He goes, I was in business with my family for 20 years. And he goes, the day I left was the day I lost my whole family. My first cousin, who was more like a brother, godfather of my son, he's never spoke to me ever since. And I was just sitting there going, I don't want that. Like, I believe in abundance. I believe everyone can succeed. I believe everyone can kill it. I believe in myself so much in business and entrepreneur that I can always go create some new stuff that I don't want to sacrifice my friends and family for it. That's like really important for me. And at that time, it felt like this mirror just goes straight up in front of me. And I know a lot of people have been going, you need to have a good hard look in the mirror. And that was the moment for me. It was kind of like mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the most selfish cunt of them all? And I just saw myself looking back at myself. And I looked at it, when he told me that story, I was like, that doesn't make sense. Now, when I look at our story and I remove myself away and I look at emotions and I look at time we spent together, that's all it was. It was a guy who's leaving to start another podcast and he's doing it so he can better his family's life. That's it. Who cares? He doesn't owe me a single thing. And that's all it was. So, like I said, I'm kind of in this process of forgiveness, and me crying last week on content was a part of that healing. And eventually it'll be the, hey, Scope, can we go for a beer? And I can hug you and go, fuck, I'm super proud of you. So one thing is don't question his character. He's a great guy, honestly. And his family used to help look after me when I was like 15, 16, when I was signing at Parramatta. And he's been a great friend ever since. And I just don't want to lose a friend over a podcast. So I know I was saying different stuff last week, but I think a week's a long time and you can change in that. So wish him all the best. And yeah, we should be friends pretty soon. Hope so. And to be honest, this has all been on me. Like, he's been reaching out, trying to check on me. That's just the type of guy Scope is. But yeah, we'll be cool. That's just a me issue. Like I said, this is probably like the lightest I've felt in years. And I said before that when I'm light, I'm free, I'm thinking my best. Like over this past couple of years, and I done a podcast with Caleb yesterday, and there's been a lot of crazy things that have been happening behind the scenes. A lot of the time I felt more like a therapist or a parent more so than a boss or an entrepreneur. And I was just always trying to solve everyone else's problems, like helping people pay rent or fixing cars, or we had half the office going through therapy at one stage, or like Caleb was trying to commit suicide and divorces, like everything that sort of seemed to happen behind the scenes was happening. And YKTR has always been attached to drama, and I'm just kind of over it. Like, we've been there for 6 years. We've gone through sex tape scandals, drug scandals, and just I feel like we started this brand because we wanted to try and do something different and inspire people. And it just sort of along the way, we just sort of felt like I've been taking bullets from all the drama that's just been happening within this business. So right now, I just feel light and free and just ready to move and ready to travel again and ready to inspire and ready to start podcasting and just start creating again. And I'm only depending on me and Natasha and Luke and Normie's coming back as well. So I see YKTR as going back to its core roots with 6 years of failures that we're fucked up on, with an eye on the future. And as I said here, 2 weeks out from what it's all happened, that's where I see us. And one thing is about me is I'm always just going to dust myself off and keep going and keep striving, because I love the brand. I love YKTR. I love the way in the past I've seen people get a hoodie and start crying. I've seen one of the saddest stories we've had a guy who really loved the brand. He ended up passing away. And they buried him in YKTR, and they were twins. Like, I've had all this evidence and all this stories and all these attachments over the past 6 years that I just really believe in it. And I think we can move, and I think we can all move light and we can all move free. And I don't want anyone to be hating on Scope when he starts his new thing. I want him to go kill it. Because you know what? There's so much room for everyone to succeed. And I really mean that. But yeah, don't bag him. He's a great guy. I'll vouch for him every day of the week. Anyone that's left YKTR, go out and support him. And if you still want to support us, we're going to go for a little bit of a transition, and we've got a few announcements coming out pretty soon. Thank you for supporting us through the ups and downs. And I know a lot of people have just come back into the brand. And there's some people that are going to leave the brand. And I thank you for coming for us this far. But ready to move, ready to be light and free, and no grudges, and grateful as ever. So I see you guys next week. The vlogs are back.